The Amaran 150C and the 300C are two bright and versatile lights by Amaran that can do any color or any color temperature, all the way from 2500 up to 7000 kelvins. I love these lights because you can change the shape of the light using modifiers, and you can change the color of the light either using buttons on the back or also using the Amaran Creators app. And they create a great ecosystem with any other Aperture or Amaran lights. I do want to say Amaran sent me the 150C and these softboxes for free to make this video. I actually bought the 300C with my own money, and I bought probably 10 or 12 other Amaran lights over the years to build out my collection. So what's special about the 150C and the 300C is the fact that you can do pretty much anything with them. Really, the only difference between them is the total amount of power. The 300C is going to be more powerful than the 150C because of the additional wattage that it has. I found whenever I tested both of them, the 150C was just enough power for me to get by in my day-to-day use. I'm running it about 70% right now and using it as my key light. And I've got the Amaran lantern on it, which I love the Amaran softboxes they just came out with. They're so easy to set up. You just pull one lever and you're good to go. Then the 300C I'm using behind me, and I'm using it at 50%. So we can get a good idea of the amount of brightness you could get out of your background if you were using the 150C instead. Now, both of these do come with a reflector. I don't really like how the reflector looks on either of them. So that is a downside. You need to plan on getting a modifier for these lights depending on your use case. You can either get the lantern, you can get the softbox, the octadome. They also have square and rectangular shaped softboxes, or there's even the projector gobo attachment too, which allows you to get creative with your background. But what I love about these lights is they're so bright and they're so powerful, and you can either use them in place of or to complement existing light, which really comes in handy if you want to just add more light to a scene. So both of these have Bluetooth control where you can access them through the app, or I also found it very intuitive to access all the different functions using the back of the light itself and using the buttons on it. But the Amaran app is special because you can set different presets up for all your lights. You can set scenes up, which is really handy if you have a certain look you're going for to get a shot like this, and then you want to change them up, put the lights back in the same spot. You're going to be able to do all that. Now, in the box, each of the lights come in this really nice foam case, which I'm not a huge fan of foam cases, but it's nice that they made the case where you can use it for storage or transportation. The lights also include a hyper reflector and a pretty big power supply. So the power supply comes in the big brick, and there's also the cord for plugging it into the wall as well. You can technically buy a power station if you want to run these off of V-mount batteries. That's going to add up fast to get all those additional components if you want to make these battery powered. So really, I would say plan on using these with mains power. These are RGB WW, so you can fully tune the white color temperature, which is better than a standard RGB light because standard RGB lights are always going to have a weird color cast to them. But with the white colors on this light, it looks great whether you're using it as a key light or if you're going to use it as a color and use it for the backdrop instead. These lights are pretty heavy, and both the power brick and the light themselves weigh a lot. And the light does have a really nice light stand adapter, but just note the light's body is made of plastic, so you will want to be careful with it. Make sure that you're taking care of it whenever you're transporting it. You have a Bowens mount on the front for your modifiers, handles on the back of it, and then there's also a standard baby pin socket on it, so you can put it on pretty much any light stand. You can easily adjust the tilt. There's even a slot where you can put an umbrella on the front of this, but I find that softboxes typically give you more control of the light than an umbrella does. I will say one thing that's annoying with all these lights is you do have to have the big power brick hanging down from your light stand or wherever you rig it up, so just know that is something you're going to have to deal with. The 150 and 300C are both about the same size. The 300C does weigh a little bit more, and you'll want to have really good quality stands for these regardless of where you're using them. I really like the rolling stand by Neewer, and I also really like the iFootage Cobra round base monopods. I'll have links to my favorite light stands in the description below, but really you want anything that's going to be really stable and have a heavy base. And you'll probably want to use some counterweights as well because these do weigh a lot, and you want to make sure that they're not going to topple over while you use them. But I found the quality of light on these is great. They work well for both filming, and also I just use these lights during the day while I'm working as well, so I have a bright light to keep me focused. If you're using the Amaran app, you can easily change the color temperature of your light to whatever you want it to be. So we can make it warmer, we can make it cooler, we can set it back to the 5600 kelvins I had it at, or you can also adjust the green and magenta tint as well, which is going to be really nice if you have any color cast issues going on. We can also adjust the brightness of the light using the app and always shut the lights off or on too. And then you can either change the color using HSI settings where you're able to quickly move it around if you want to go for some sort of funky colored scene, or you can also use effects like paparazzi, faulty bulb, party lights as well. So you can do a bunch of different dynamic color setups with this as well. And then it's just so easy to get it right back to that color that we started with. You can also use one of their preset colors or you can also make your own presets as well. I really like using the light source setting on this as well so that you can match it to whatever your room has. So even though this is a colored light, it has no issue with any sort of color casting or with looking too colored, which I appreciate because you can use this light for anything from key lighting to background lighting like we've got it over there, and just adjust the light as you need to get the perfect setup for your space or your room. If I were trying to pick between the 300C or the 150C, I actually picked the 300C first just so I had the extra brightness and the extra power, which can come in handy if you need to overpower other really bright light sources, or it's also really great for throwing a ton of color on a background like that as well. But the 150C is also plenty bright for most indoor use. The Amaran 150C goes for $360 and the Amaran 300C goes for $570. So you are going to be spending quite a bit more money if you want to get the 300C. The 300C is really worth it to have the extra power and the extra versatility, but the 150C, in my opinion, is also plenty bright for most day-to-day use. If I were trying to choose between the two of these, I would just ask where you're going to be using it, because if you're mostly going to be using it indoors, the 150C is going to be plenty bright for you. You could also buy something like the 200XS if you want to have the bicolor capabilities. It's going to be a little bit cheaper than the 150C, but I bought the 200 before I bought the 150C, and I wish that I would have bought the 150C instead, because that one really does give you so much more versatility with all the brightness that it has and all the different colors you can change it to. So who are these lights for? These are for you if you want to build out an ecosystem of lights by Amaran, because you can easily control them all with the Amaran Creators app. They also work just fine with Sidus Link, and they integrate with any aperture lights as well. They have tons of brightness, tons of power, and you can customize them for your lighting needs just by changing the softbox on them. Just be prepared, it is going to be a bit of an investment with a big stand, a big modifier, but these are really great and give you plenty of power. Overall, I highly recommend the Amaran 150C and 300C. If you're interested in buying one of these, I do have links to buy in the description below. If you got any questions about these lights, leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear them. Like this video, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any upcoming content.